Hey everyone, Alex here. Today we thought we'd do a slightly different style video, so here are our top 5 picks for the best value tech in summer of 2020. Just a heads up, our list consists of what we consider to be the best value and may not necessarily be the cheapest. Nonetheless, we hope you enjoy it, and if you have any suggestions or disagree with our picks, feel free to leave a comment down below.
We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
The base model iPad is a lot of power for a relatively low price. It costs, with the most basic options, so no cellular data and only 32 gigabytes of memory, £349. And that's not that much, considering that you're getting a proper Apple product for that money, and has the Apple A10 processor, which, whilst old, is still decent. And if you want to save money on an appliance, it's an underrated option. The other alternative in the cheap iPads sector is the Apple iPad Air. It's more expensive. It's £480. Although refurbished, it's £420. This, however, has a slightly bigger screen, but more importantly, has far superior processor. It's an Apple A12, which is also found in the iPhone XS. I'd argue that the iPad Air is a better alternative in budget tablets, as for not that much more, you get a lot more performance, and you get certified that you'll get a longer lifespan because you're buying a newer processor in your iPad.
For best value smartphones, we have the OnePlus 8 as opposed to the OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, the OnePlus 8 is a great value for its money, really, because it starts at £599 for a model with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and that goes to about £699 for a version with 12GB and 256GB of storage. Now, obviously, the design is classic OnePlus. It's amazing, really. It's very light, only comes into about 180 grams. Now, what's quite remarkable about the OnePlus 8 is the display, because even though it's a budget phone, as I would call it, it still has a 90Hz display, which is better than any iPhone. Obviously, it doesn't go to the 120Hz display. It doesn't go on that goes on the OnePlus 8 Pro. But to be honest, for 699 quid, I'll be very happy with 90Hz and a HDR10 Plus supporting AMOLED screen. The camera is, needless to say, amazing, to be honest, because it has a 48 megapixel main sensor, 16 megapixel ultra-wide one, and then 2 megapixel macro one, which is, to be honest, best. You can't really ask for more in £699. You are also getting LPDDR4X RAM, which is slower than the LPDDR5, but to be honest, you probably won't be able to notice the difference.
For the best laptop, it's got to be the Dell Inspiron 14500 with the 10th gen Intel Core i7 processor, turbo boosting up to 4.9 GHz, and dedicated GeForce MX 230 graphics with 2GB GDDR5. This comes at a price tag of £779, which is not bad at all, considering that you also get 12GB of DDR4 RAM clocked at 2666 MHz and a 512GB M.2 PCIe NVMe solid-state drive. This does come at some compromises, as the general construction of the laptop is made of plastic and the display is a 1920 by 1080, although this is anti-glare and in a 14-inch form factor, so it should not be as noticeable as something on, say, a 15-inch laptop. In addition to this, the keyboard is backlit. It has a 3-cell battery at 51 watt-hours and 802.11 AC 1x1 Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The laptop is upgradable to an extent, with the SSD and RAM being somewhat upgradable. This laptop is really amazing for this price, because usually you don't begin to see those sort of specs until you break the £1,000 budget. So if you're willing to compromise for maybe a slightly less premium feeling build and maybe a slightly shoddier looking display, this is an absolutely fantastic laptop and definitely the best value for its price.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go.
So the best wearables, hands down, has got to be the Apple Watch Series 3. Now, I say the Series 3 instead of the newest Series 5 is because, well, the Series 3 starts at $199, $200 essentially, whilst the more expensive Series 5 starts at $400. Now, I call this a very big bang for the buck because you get an Apple Watch, which is known for its high quality, and you don't have that many compromises, so you don't have the always-on Retina display, which isn't great, but you can always just raise your wrist and see the time anyway. You don't have all of these cool materials and finishes. For example, the Series 5 gets the stainless steel, the ceramic, and the titanium, but realistically speaking, we're not actually going to be using any of these. We'll all be fine with aluminium. Now, in terms of heart and health tracking, it doesn't have the ECG app, but frankly saying, not many of us are going to be using the ECG. We just need to use, well, the heart rate notification. And the Series 3 also has the irregular heart rhythm notification, which is really all you need, as I said before. Now, if you don't know what ECG is, it's an electrical heart sensor, so it's capable of generating a signal that's similar to an electrocardiogram, but it's a really bit of a gimmick, if you will. Now, for safety and emergency, you don't have a fall detection, so maybe not ideal for the older people who, if you fall, the Apple Watch asks if you're okay. But most of the times, this is again going to be another gimmick, and the emergency SOS service is still available. And other than that, the only thing it doesn't really have is a haptic feedback digital crown, and it also doesn't have a compass. And it has a slower processor, but for $200, sorry, you're getting quite the bang for the buck.
Set my heart afire.
Finally, we have the best MacBook, not to be confused with the best laptop, and that is the new MacBook Air 2020, coming with a quad-core 10th Gen i5, 8GB of super-fast 3733 MHz LPDDR4X RAM, a 512GB SSD, and the backlit Magic Keyboard, which is a massive improvement off of the previous Butterfly keyboard. It also includes Touch ID, the Force Touch trackpad that Apple is famous for, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and is very reasonably priced at £1,299 compared to similar products priced at, you got the 13-inch MacBook Pro, which has a 8th gen processor comparatively and LPDDR3 memory, as well as half the amount of storage. This laptop is the best priced MacBook you can get. It has a fantastic screen, the specs are very well performing for that price. And if you're looking for something that runs macOS and isn't ridiculously expensive, or you want the function keys, which the MacBook Pro has gotten rid of, the MacBook Air 13 2020 is definitely the best option for you. Okay guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. I just thought I'd give an honorable mention to the iPhone SE, which was a solid runner-up for the best value phone, which brings everything we loved about older devices like the iPhone 6 to a modern Apple product. Also, there will be links to all of the products mentioned in the description below.